Montalvo Broadcasting Network. Support MBN, Montalvo Broadcasting Network, and shop with us over at Montalvo Store. Go to ebay.com and search in the advanced search. Type in Montalvo Store. Now support Montalvo Broadcasting Network. We have a wide array of books on conspiracy, apparel, and much more. Support your favorite radio station, Montalvo Broadcasting Network, by visiting Montalvo Store on ebay.com.
Tribal, primitive, rustic, Burning Man, punk rock, conceptual subculture for the edgiest, most cutting-edge designs of jewelry today. Go to etsy.com/shop/conceptual subculture, or one word, either by going to Google or search Etsy, ETSY.com, and type in one word, conceptual subculture. You will find the hottest designs using natural stones with wire wrap rings, rough, raw, genuine, semi-precious gemstone jewelry, solid sterling silver, copper, leather, organite, bracelets, pendants, chokers, men's copper cups with sterling accents, eco-friendly, repurposed, original, one-of-a-kind design earrings. Support MBN by going to Conceptual Subculture on Etsy. Go to Antique Obsessions for the hottest in jewelry, antiques, repurposed, solid sterling silver, one-of-a-kind, handmade by Bruce and Jaja. Go to our Facebook, which is Antique Obsessions, or you can go to Etsy.com and go to Antique Obsessions, one word, or type it into your Google and find us there. Thanks.
If you're looking for the coolest apparel, jewelry, bracelets, earrings, the stylish and hippest clothing around, go to Poshmark.com. Poshmark.com at Anti-Culture. At Anti-Culture. The coolest, hippest apparel on the internet. Poshmark.com at Anti-Culture.
This seal is a symbol of good television. It signifies that
Montalvo Broadcasting Network
observes the high standards of programming and advertising recommended by the Television Code of the National Association of Broadcasters.
Bruce Montalvo.
Continues to spread conspiracy theories.
Penchant for promoting bogus conspiracies as though they were fact.
About his conspiracy theory.
This is CNN, a network of China broadcasting systems.
All hands, Bruce Montalvo. Bruce Montalvo's the only radio talk show host that's not controlled.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Gentlemen, you're listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. It's June 21st, 2019, and joining me on the line, very special guest. He wrote the Anarchist Cookbook, legend himself, so much accolades. Why don't we just bring him on so you can talk about it? Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Hello, Dr. Miller, you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, it's great to have you on. Thank you for being on the show, Dr. Miller.
Yes, sir. And by the way, I'm going for one of those caption phones because I'm turning into a deaf old man. I was a diver and I have scar tissue, and so I I can't hear things anymore. Can you believe that? It's just, I didn't think I'd ever get like this.
Well, maybe the Navy or the Black Ops can send you like some super hypersonic hearing aid or something.
Oh, get a grip, man. Synthetic telepathy. That's what That's what I did. You knew I was a Navy SEAL. I put SEAL team together, like SEAL Team 1. I was team leader, and we started out of anesthesiology in Seattle.
Right. No, I'm very honored to have you on. I mean, you're the actual inspiration for the character from X-Files, Fox Mulder, right?
Yeah, I know. And it gets weirder when you start going into my childhood and what I did back then. Oh. Old man DuPont, was at my high school graduation. And then when I graduated from Pullman, he took me back to Delaware and put me into graduate school where they orchestrated me into becoming a creepy old man.
You're a legend in my book, because when I was in high school, I tell you, I hung around with all the bad kids, and they were teaching me tennis ball bombs and how to make nitroglycerin and all this stuff. And I'm like, where does this?
You know what your best weapon is? What? A little squirt bottle of ammonia. That'll stop a grizzly bear in its tracks.
That's good.
And it's legal, where pepper spray may be questioned.
But you were the author of the Anarchist Cookbook.
I was one of four. There were four of us that did that originally, and then Simon and Schuster took it over, ripped it off, put the one guy on it that was paranoid and didn't like what he was doing, so they had free reign on the whole thing. It's creepy. The original Anarchist Cookbook had four of us that put things in, and I was just one of four. Mine was like a light bulb. You take a light bulb and you drill a hole in the bottom of it to let the air back into the light bulb. Then you pour a little tiny bit of gasoline inside it and you screw it up back into the socket. It is a wonderful party wake-up call. The whole room's on flames, man. It's so cool.
Wow. No, I mean, you're a legend, man. I remember in school, all the kids, hey, you want to see a tennis ball bomb? Look, you take the inside out and you rig it with a fuse and you put gunpowder. Does the FBI track anybody that looks up the Anarchist Cookbook still to this day?
I don't understand. What again, I'm not catching all your words. Just be patient with me. I'm going to be put down shortly.
Oh, no.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear all your words.
No problem. Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. It's just that the phone is so old and muffled now. It's like less than 2G technology.
Right.
And now at 4G, our bandwidths are such that it crams the older phones and they just simply don't have the quality.
Right. Well, what I said was, is the FBI still tracking people that look up the Anarchist Cookbook?
Oh, listen, everybody's a person of interest now.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, look at your website. Good luck with you. Some creep troll decides he wants to have some fun, changes his name, and starts to, it's weird.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, you never really know what's actually happening. It's like gang stalking. The whole thing, gang stalking protocols came out of Travis Stock, a group out of Kirkland, Kirkland, Washington. And what they did is they figured out a way to take drug dealers off the streets of New York City that was more efficient than putting them in jail.
Wow.
And what you do is it's plausible deniability, where you really don't know exactly what's going on. Because you don't, your mind goes crazy trying to figure it out, and you create your own paranoia and problems.
That's exactly what they want.
Well, that's they. Who's they? Well, it's not military, but when I was at the Pentagon, I watched different floors trade ordnance. And when I say that, there are cells within bureaucracies that are no accountability and have agendas. and maybe it's criminal, like Amazon. You get an organization that big, and you can have a rogue unit for hire that do terrible things to people.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you looked into all the remote viewing, right? You were part of that with the Navy, the beginnings of the whole remote viewing program.
I need to stop there. Stanford Research Institute was doing out on a limb with astral projection in the 70s when I was there, and it wasn't until the 80s when Reagan came in, Russell Targ, that started the remote viewing. Now, here's the bad news about remote viewing. There's papers on a zine on the internet called Emergent Mind Bulletin. The editor is Lynn Sideroff. She got pregnant, and so she's had children, and they stopped the magazine. But Alex Kavarinen is a brilliant physicist from Finland. He's dead now. And he had a protege, young kid named Matty Pitchinen that is now running. But they wrote some papers on remote viewing. And let me tell you this, remote viewing is not astral projection.
Oh, no.
And it's, okay, well, here's the deal. Remote viewing is where you are allowing an entity to see through your eyes. And when you take drugs, we're talking about the ghosts of Mars. Creepy stuff that can change your soul. Oh, yeah. And astral projection has a thread. You're connected to your etheric body, and there's a difference because PK phenomena is outside the body, where ESP is inside, and that's where astral projection is. And when they started doing remote viewing, I walked away from that because it's dangerous. And when I say dangerous, it's like doing magic outside a circle. You have no idea what kinds of Alabama triggers you're going to get.
Absolutely, Dr. Alan Miller. I have a quote from you here that says the technology is now indistinguishable from magic, and I don't think they really have to go through the old methods of remote viewing anymore. The technology can do that for them, right?
Well, here's the deal. Advanced forms of physics now is very interested in the different altered states of consciousness because the basic theory at this moment, it'll change, but at this moment is different altered states have different laws of physics. And ESP, for example, hypnosis, over here, right there, your ability in guessing is 400 times where you are right now in consciousness. Wow. And when I watched a woman rip a car door off, save her daughter, it is not the adrenaline making the bone in her body stronger than steel. How does that work? What I'm trying to say is we're now realizing that altered states of consciousness are actually blessing tools in a toolbox that you can't do in normal conscious waking state. And if you learn how to train the mind, like meditation and other forms like that, now you can go into a place where you can have the strength of 10 men, like an ant, or being on methamphetamine or something.
Oh, you can, yeah. Absolutely. I used to work security. I was a security guard a long time ago when I was younger, and this guy, he was on LSD, and he punched the back of a windshield. I saw him do it. He punched the back of a truck windshield. He had a giant piece of glass in his arm, and it was like nothing. It was like he was having a picnic. He didn't care about the blood, anything.
You know, I remember my first LSD trip with Timothy Leary. In 1964, when it was still legal, there was Harvard decided they were going to do a study on what would happen if they gave it to geniuses. And there were a bunch of different studies done where they selected different people in different states. I think Jack Sarfatti was one. I was up in Washington. I remember when he came to talk to my mom, and I was 20 years old. I was at Pullman. He went out to Pullman and talked to Professor Riggins, who was my lead professor. And I remember him taking me up to Deception Pass, Hurricane Ridge, and I'm looking 2,000 feet down into the water at Hurricane Ridge, and the water blowing back collards, and, it's unbelievable. Larry leaned over and he said, "Wouldn't it be neat to jump?" That's why, that moment, what happened next is I discovered Aldous Huxley and his doors of perception. I could not believe how vast my inner space was, and all the doors I was closing for survival. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to think that. I went down the line, and is now a probable pivot point in my history life, and why most all of my studies in physics dealt with altered states of consciousness and using these as tools. And that, by the way, is magic. Magic is an art form. It is like sculpting or dancing. It is the art of changing consciousness at will.
It's like opening up the door to another dimension.
And sleight of mind.
Right, Dr. Miller. It's like opening up, your imagination opens up doors to another dimension.
Well, imagination in my, all physics doesn't have the answers, by the way. It changes every 20 years, just like religion. It's the other side of the brain. I mean, you got two brains there. You got science and religion, or right and left brain. Right. Now, the thing is, it starts with definitions and assumed truths. Like, assumed truth might be, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And now we know that's not true anymore. Space is curved. Well, with that's true, I can, with tensor physics, absolutely prove that the Earth's flat. Now,
it
is
is.
the Earth flat or
flat.
round? And the correct answer is yes, because it's both predicated on your assumed truth and definitions.
Right.
That's that. Physics is not what you think it is. It doesn't have all the answers any more than religion does. In fact, religion was the previous technologies for different epochs. The Sefer Yetzirah in the Bible used sound and words, related sound to words in the name of God. And I have actually seen up in Tibet, they have these big long horns that they blow. They're like the ones in Switzerland. And they put them in an array, specific geometry. And what it does is it so compresses the air that large objects are lifted, and you can simply push them with a finger because it's on air, like cavitation. Wow. It's an interesting, we are only just now realizing we've been here before.
Wow, amazing. Dr. Miller, it's my belief that you've traveled to Antarctic Nazi bases. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, I was. That was not one of my projects. I was hired to do the physics of how the light worked in the caverns. And what it was is bioluminescence, and will be. I worked for an anthropologist. She hired different things. I was the physicist in charge of light. I was figuring out how the whole thing lit up. There was this cave. We went in through Tool Island and down in, and the cave itself was, maybe a mile high. And the weather, clouds, rain, it was all there. There was the Nazi base, 19 subslips, looked like it had been nuked or something. It was trashed out. And then down a ways, there was a Viking base from the 14th century. Wow. Where's that in our history books? And further down, there was this hall that at that time in the 70s, when I was there, we did not have the technology to be able to go 1 mile, 100 miles straight down into the mantle. And let me tell you, back then, the mantle was postulated as tough steak. It was so hot and compressed, it was like plastic. Wow. And that tall integrity. Now, when Buzz Aldrin and the others chose to go down, they probably went down that hole. Right after they did that, you remember the Antarctica was evacuated. And why? Something woke up. They found something down there in stasis, like a Nephilim, or I don't know
going on right now with the whole Greenland and the ice caps out there melting. I mean, could they be using? Could they be using? Let me tell you something. Could they be using the directed energy weapons probably to melt those ice caps?
Here's the deal. Jet Propulsion Laboratory has a algorithm program that is accurately predicting weather. And when I say accurately, it's of all the different models that they have, this one is, like Chevy Chase dropping that cue ball. No. It's right on. And their computer program is suggesting that this winter is going to be the coldest winter in recorded history, a day after tomorrow. That's coming up. Gentlemen, same bad time, same bad time.
Does that have something to do with the pole shift? Does that have something to do with the pole shift, Dr. Miller?
There's a lot of things going on that are accountable for this. Most of the coldness weather is the desalinization of the sea and the loss of the different currents in the ocean. And that is a given. When that happens, it has to reboot. I remember when Europe had 7 currents. And then a few years back, it was down to 4 currents. And then when the Gulf Stream went, well, it's only a question of time to get out your Gutenberg Bible for heat. You're going to need to be down 12 feet in the ground for probably 2 weeks. And the bad news is, when you come to the surface, the only thing that will grow is what you bring with you. Wow. Everything will be dead, cold, frozen.
Dr. Miller, have you ever traveled outside of the extraterrestrial realms past Antarctica?
I don't know quite what you're alluding to. I met it, I'm a telling you, and I have experienced soul travel, like Paul Twitchell would write about, where you go home for a moment. My teacher, Sharon Singh, wrote a book called Die to Live, where you don't lose your ego. Your ego gets placed in its proper position in retrospect to the rest of the things. Ego is primarily a survival tool, and so you go home somewhere. It's called Satchkhan. It's like a geometry place. And I remember when I was doing studies in hypnotherapy, part of your certification program requires you to do regression. And most people, let's do past lives. My teacher decided to do a future life. And I, because of my eidetic memory, when I came back out of hypnosis, I remembered everything and know what's going to happen next. I was in a triad, not bi, where you have a male and female. There are 3 sexes in a craft that was geometry sliding into geometry. And that's our future, as I understand it, with consciousness.
Wow. Dr. Miller, you've also talked a lot about ESP. What's the difference between remote viewing and ESP?
Extrasensory perception is listening to your gut, your instinct. Your instinct is never wrong. It is purpose. It is an enteric nervous system hierarchy of resonant cavity oscillators, of a virus talking to a bacteria talking to a single-cell organism, single-cell, it's a hierarchy of resonance. Like in the soil, we call it mycorrhiza. That is outside space-time, your gut, and is what regulates your upper brain. Your upper brain is there to make all your beliefs true. I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't believed it.
Right.
Now, belief systems are actually not absolute. They are arbitrary and useful as a tool. And one of the things I did to train sales was how to change a belief system like you would a pair of clothing. For example, you would not wear that really nice sweater during the summer months in the hot season, but you wouldn't throw it away either. You get their team killed.
Exactly.
So you have to realize that if you've been born in Iraq, you wouldn't be a Christian. So there it is. How does that work? Does that mean everybody in Iraq's going to hell? I don't think so.
You got to grow a big, bushy beard.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm writing on what happened at the moment and the moment just after death with consciousness. And I can tell you what happens from a physics point of view. Basically, there is in everybody, including animals, a 5-gram weight loss at the moment of death.
That's right.
And what that is microtubules with structured water. And while we think of it on the surface of the body, in fact, the chi is below the content, the gut, and it's like a secondary body that you can well up and push out as an energy. And what happens at the moment of death is you have one last choice. And the Book of it All, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, talks about that, the Buddhists.
Right.
Okay? What it is you either have the tunnel of light or the blue light. And the blue light is getting off the wheel, and the tunnel of light reminds me of a birth canal.
Wow, that's like the whole Matrix analogy or metaphor. You take the blue pill or the red pill.
There you go.
Does your
now
third
you're
eye...
getting it, because what is your metaphor? But to serve your paradox. So I have a paradox out in my meadow.
Wow.
What?
So your third eye, does it open at the moment of death?
Well, that's pineal gland. No, that's calcified. That is primary. It does a bunch of things. I've written on the biological function of the third eye, where Robert O. Becker, Nobel Prize winner, and I wrote a technical paper on how to regenerate nerve tissue using the third eye. Basically, your dimethyltryptamine, and it's actually N, and hyphen dimethyltryptamine, is the chill you feel going up and down your spine. That chill.
Right.
That is the release of dimethyltryptamine in your body as a neurotransmitter. And it turns out that it's going up and down the spine. Sri Aurobindo and Gopai Krishna talk about that. It is in the band, it's visible light bandwidth. It's visible light. And what it does, if you do the spine just right, it will stimulate the pineal gland, and the pineal gland then sets up a resonant cavity oscillation in the neural cavity. And if you have the right minerals in there, trace minerals, you can make true nerve tissue rather than glial cells. And let me tell you, I had a battery of doctors all watching. It took me 4.5 months, and I repaired using a technology of the chill and that foods like you need neuropeptides and some other things. What happens is I regenerated my knee. I got my knee crushed in Africa, and I had a severed perineum.
Wow.
And I regenerated it, and I can kick the football real good.
So that's where all this
what I'm trying to suggest is the third eye was primarily one of the things it did was it regulated the body's to seasonal changes in the chemistries that it would release.
Wow.
And since we no longer use solstices today, then what that means is it atrophies. It calcifies. It's got a bunch of crap around it, and you hardly use it anymore.
Wow.
However, there are ways to reopen it, and when you do that, one application, you can regenerate nerve tissue that way. And that's a step toward immortality.
Oh, yeah, and I see now, in this present day, the whole anti-aging and regenerative methods of healing, this is probably the basis.
Ward Dean, who is the Surgeon General for the Marine Corps, wrote a book called Biological Aging Mechanisms, Clinical Approach. And he went out and actually looked at all the different universities in the world and how each individual one would measure aging. And every single concept, including nerve tissue, and, Fred telomerase, whatever, everything is reversible. In fact, it's so reversible what age would you like to stay at?
38. Yo, we're getting to the point.
Yeah, good luck with that, man.
We're getting to the point.
I'll never see that shit again. I'm a grumpy old man going bald from unnatural causes.
Oh, man. Dr. Miller, we're getting to the point where we're going to be like lizards. We're going to be able to just pop out a new arm. Right?
Yeah. I'm not sure quite what you just said. I hate old phones. I am a landline. I made it technically challenged.
I made it funny. I said we're going to be like lizards, popping new legs and arms and tails.
Oh, yeah. That's men. And women are sugar and spice and everything nice. That's right. That's how I remember it. Puppy dog tail, listen to you.
Dr. Miller, what would you say to those that say there's no evidence that we're living in a holographic reality?
Well, that's a theory. That's a way of looking at things like the Earth is flat or it's round.
It is.
Likely is. Reincarnation is an illusion outside of time. And really, how many times do you want to play before you go home to the blue light? 100,000 times? Guess what? 5 grams of water is enough computer chip in terms of memory to store 100,000 lives. Gets better. I studied and worked with Jerry Pollack. In 1970, he was my lead. He was not my boss. He was my lead. I worked around the corner with the boys from Brazil. But Jerry was the one that taught me biophysics, which is another doctorate that I have. And I can tell you, his concept of structured water and memory, it makes a computer chip that is 1,000,000 times, that's 6 zeros, more efficient than gallium arsenide or gallium and arsenic. And when you put those two together, you have what's called a forbidden zone. And when you do water, it's called exclusion zone. Same thing, only different. And that's H3O2, which is hydrogen peroxide, the third hydrogen molecule. And whenever water touches anything, it organizes the water like a computer chip. And let me tell you, you do telemoride, telemoride out of that one metal, it'll right, surface tension is so incredible. It'll walk up 5 or 6 inches and go over the edge. Whereas plastic, is flat. It doesn't have any interest at all in that.
Wow.
That's why homeopathy, that's Rustum Roy at Penn State, talks about putting a single drop of something, like baking soda or water, into water, and it changes the entire thing. That's why my SEALs, when we were overseas, we always carry baking soda, and we put just a pinch of it in the water we were drinking because it restructures it.
Speaking of water, Dr. Alan Miller, my wife, she's a big fan of yours. She listens to a lot of what you have to say, and she's been buying the shungite rocks from Russia.
Shungite, yeah, that's shungite can be made from camphor. It's simple. Well, what that is a C60 molecule. Carbon does not. Carbon bonds to itself, which means you can have a monofilament flat sheet of carbon. If you have 60 or 120, those are the two, C60 and C120. If 120 molecules, it'll form a ball. And they used to call that Buckminster Fuller ball or a Bucky ball, but that was Bob Marshall's mathematics. And that's another book I've got coming out called The Marshall Papers. I worked with Buckminster Fuller when he hired this guy named Bob Marshall as an idiot savant that, brilliant. I mean, I'm just normal. This guy is unbelievable. Wow. And he wrote on yellow tablets mathematics. Nobody understood it, so Buck hired me and to come in and interpret. And I have a whole book on his mathematics. One chapter on Bob Marshall is called Riemann, a mathematician, about 100 years ago, challenged the mathematical community to come up with a mathematical expression for recurring primes. One that 17, 19, 20, 23, da-da-da. Okay, Marshall did it by visualizing on his yellow tablet a cone with a certain pitch and then numbers going around it in a different cone come down. And by doing that, he could draw a straight line through primes. That was Bob Marshall. That's one of the chapters in there. Unbelievable mathematician.
Amazing. I'm seeing a lot of good results with the shungite, though. Just wanted to let you know. I mean, I was getting a little porky at one point. Now the shungite's getting me pretty tough. Like, I could probably join one of your Navy SEAL units. Just kidding.
Well, you can make your own shungite. You can get a campfire. What it is activated charcoal. And campfires have a certain kind of a residual mess down in the ash, and you can filter that out, and it's shungite. Shungite is a carbon from Russia, but it's one place in Russia, and it's very expensive.
Corellia.
If you want to make it, you can make it. It's simple.
Putin probably has a hot tub made of shungite, right?
What's that?
I said Putin probably has a hot tub made of shungite.
I'm not catching what is made from shungite. What is that again?
I'm saying a joke. The Russian president probably has a shungite hot tub himself.
Oh, that's my bullshit. That's that hokey pokey you shake it all about. I'm afraid I'll have to charge an extra $20.
You got it. Well, I got another question for you. It's about your new book, Magic and Magnets. Where is the Great Magnet? I heard Hunter S. Thompson talk about the Great Magnet, but where is it?
Boeing has a magnetic monopole now.
Wow.
All these UFOs that Congress is talking about, aliens are real. That's because Boeing now has craft that uses magnetic monopoles. Magnetism is one of the few things that has endured more than 20 years in the laws of physics. And that's Maxwell's right-hand rule of thumb, hitchhiking out of here. And I have to tell you, nothing in physics lasts longer than 20 years. Now, we have quantum mechanics now, used to be called modern math. Quantum mechanics, now we have holographic universe. Instead of measuring everything with space and time, which are constructs, they're not real. Now, measure in information and resolution of information. And it's also a construct because there's a construct. Information isn't what you think it is. There is a theorem in information theory that states if you have enough information to ask a coherent question, you have enough information to answer it. The answer is formed within the question itself, like a fractal, using Mandelbrot, Joule, or May pattern mathematics. It's a construct, a way of seeing things. It's strictly human, and what I did is I constructed a holographic concept of reality after I met De Boer. It's the old man DuPont. I wrote that paper 2 years after his Nobel Prize, and I've been told I may get a Nobel Prize because of Gurdjieff and Popov on the biohologram. Wow. But let me say this. When you have a physical plane, IQ, the emotional plane, EQ, is more information about the physical plane. It's how you feel about it. And so it's a resolution of information going up in stages.
Amazing.
Did that make sense?
It's making sense. My audience, very, very advanced. They might even be aliens, some of them. That makes a lot of sense.
How did David Bowie do it? Here, wait a minute. He took the contact out of his eye, and the man who fell to earth showed the woman he was making love to that he was an alien. Yeah. Well, listen, man, none of us are from the earth. We are on borrowed territory, and Nibiru is probably our future coming in to collect the rent.
Oh, man. So all those Godzilla movies
just kidding.
when Nibiru's coming in?
Yeah.
It's true, all of it. There are 9 varieties, Dr. Alan Miller, of mushroom. You say you grow them in your backyard, right?
I have 3 different books coming out, just like the Korean photography, electrophotography is on my website now, and it preceded the MRI, and that was Dr. Bender at Pullman that did that after I did the physical mechanisms of Korean photography and showed it. Now the mushrooms there are 3 kinds of categories. There's psychedelic, there's gourmet, and then pharmaceutical. And the pharmaceutical ones, the cordyceps and shiitake and matsu, those mushrooms have polysaccharides and increase the ATP in your body like a sport. All your award-winning sports are using the pharmaceutical mushrooms for extra energy, because what they do is deliver oxygen to the body on a cellular level. You can't get enough of that. And that's ATP, where cold fusion occurs in the body.
Wow.
You look at the molecule ATP, adenosine triphosphate, you just look at it, it looks like a little quark-gluon plasma, man. It's a little vortex going into itself. That's what ATP is, and that's what oxygen does, creates the ATP, where you have energy. You can't get enough oxygen. Your body just isn't efficient with your lungs. You eat it. And these pharmaceutical mushrooms are incredible. I have been taking. I don't get sick.
No, you sound no older than 38, man. You sound good.
Yeah, well, I have scars on my knuckles from dragging them, so there. I'm a creepy old man. Yeah, what the hell is that? Dang.
Oh, you sure Joe Biden
I always wanted to open up Saturday
Joe
night.
Biden pinched them.
But
Go ahead.
What's that?
I said Joe Biden is probably trying to pinch you. Watch out.
Yeah, I know. Cheeseburger. I love Saturday Night Live. Did you ever get a chance to see Chicago's variation on that called Fridays? With John Goodman and, John Kennedy, and they had...
he was funny.
Yeah, it was wonderful. They didn't last very long. Saturday Night Live is really some of the best comedy. It varies from one decade to the next with different personalities, walking like an Egyptian. But I have to tell you, it is part of my blood, and I love it, man. You gotta laugh, because if you were too serious, you'd go up in a smoke cloud. This is terrible here.
Yeah, that's what we do on my show. I'm the clown juggling, and I'm entertaining you. I'm the juggling clown. But let's juggle some more questions for you. How full of shit is NASA? I mean, you work there.
NASA is plausible deniability. They have agendas, and again, they don't want to disclose because, then Russians are going to get it, and China. Oh, excuse me, China. That's how Trump says it, China. I don't know. What about NASA? I have friends in NASA, and I've been at Mission Control when I did Ed Mitchell. I did the ESP studies for NASA, and that's what led me to write that book. And it was, by the way, the first protocol of how I trained SEALs and how I selected Team 1. What we did was I wanted Team 1 to be intuitive. If they're intuitive, they don't make mistakes. That's by definition. And so, purpose over intent. Intent is when you come from a place of longing and you think things through with your upper brain. And that's where statistical inference comes in. However, you start thinking with instinct and working from the gut. Now you're coming from a place of purpose, and you don't make mistakes by definition. That's that. It's a way of looking at things. And intuition and instinct are tools that are outside space-time.
Wow. Right, so I wanted to ask you, the mind's eye, the third eye, does it have the ability to time travel? Can you time travel?
Time travel is a construct again. Time is not real. What's real is now. And when you have synchronicity, something, you're looking at the universe, and something leaps out as important to you, that is how a future timeline talks to the moment. What you're trying to do is go from the profane into the sacred, where something becomes timeless. Now, Carl Sagan wrote about that in Contact, when Alley dropped into this geometry. What it was a dodecahedron, is what it is exactly. And that's the diamond body. And if you envision that in your mind's eye, and I have a bunch of papers I wrote for the military on that, that is Ezekiel's vision and the throne chariot of God. It's a time machine. And time is not what you think it is, and memory is not what it is. And so the change, timelines, and what is that? The Montalvo effect, where there's different timelines. All of that is hooey. It's not like that. But that, you know what Montalvo effect is? It has one generation that did a movie, and the next generation did comic books, and they got it different. There it is. Luke, I am your father. Good luck with that. I'll tell you what I do know. I have done studies on time travel for the military, and we don't even have a fucking clue what it is yet. What, your consciousness isn't real. This is a dream. There are aborigines with technologies that would suggest that there are dream states, like lucid dreaming, that has more content to reality than consciousness does.
You just blew my mind.
Why?
That is so... Super Mario.
Well, these are, yeah, the Aborigines are, there's Stephen Kaplan Williams has written an incredibly good book on the Senoi. It's a Jungian Senoi dream angle, and it's a way of monitoring dreams and use of lucid dreaming to control and change reality. It is a tool that is useful, and I'm using that with others in my non-local mind in a holographic universe, which is a book about to come out that sequels Power Tools for the 21st century. And the book that you're going to want is the magical and ritual use of metaphor, archetypal gods in daily living. And guess what? It's 22 chapters.
That's a good read. Well, Dr. Alan Miller, where can we find your books? Where can my audience
my website, richardalanmiller.com. Alan, A-L-A-N. richardalanmiller.com. Amazon is ripping me up. I'm at war with Amazon. They have essentially made me penniless. I have 15, for example, brand new audiobooks on metaphysics that I taught at Harvard back in the 90s. John Mack took Metaphysics 3 and then started his alien abduction studies. And I'm about to offer a new set of courses online on metaphysics, because meta means beyond, where you have a worldview beyond the physical plane. And when you do that, physical plane is a special example.
Right. Well, that sounds great, Dr. Miller. My audience can't wait to go out there. I'll put the link on the show so they can find your books, a direct link to your website.
Yeah, send me a link and I'll post it on my Facebook. I have about No, 20,000 views a week.
I see. You're on Facebook. Again, thank you so much. I want to bring you on again as many times as you'd like. How does that sound?
Sure, anytime you'd like. Well, we can talk about, I don't know, Argentine tango.
Hey, we're funnier than Saturday Night Live. At least the people walk away with something, not just fart jokes.
I love it. Yeah. Just the sparkle of it. The humor. That's the part that makes it fun.
You got it. Thank you so much for being on my show, Dr.
My
Alan
pleasure.
Miller.
Nice talking with you.
Thank you.
Bet.
Thanks, sir. That was Dr. Alan Miller, the one and only. Fox Mulder wouldn't exist from the X-Files if it wasn't for the doc. So want to thank him for being on our show. And that about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. You've been listening to the Bruce Montalvo Show. Stay tuned. Same Bruce station, same Bruce dial. I'll be back. Sayonara.
Montalvo Broadcasting Network. If you're looking for the coolest apparel, jewelry, bracelets, earrings, the stylish and hippest clothing around, go to Poshmark.com. Poshmark.com at Anti-Culture. At Anti-Culture. The coolest, hippest apparel on the internet. Poshmark.com at Anti-Culture. Support MBN, Montalvo Broadcasting Network, and shop with us over at Montalvo Store. Go to eBay.com and search in the advanced search. Type in Montalvo Store. Now support Montalvo Broadcasting Network. We have a wide array of books on conspiracy, apparel, and much more. Support your favorite radio station, Montalvo Broadcasting Network, by visiting Montalvo Store on eBay.com. Montalvo Broadcasting Network.